My name's Will Williams. I run Walk on the Wild Side, which is, I take people foraging. I take people foraging from spring all the way up to about October, November. Spring, we're looking at seaweeds, spring herbs, things like this. Once it gets to June, the mushrooms start coming out. And month after month, more and more and more will come out. And so this is October, and we're going into the woods, and hopefully, if no one's picked them all, we'll find a few mushrooms. And I'll give you a few tips on how to identify 100%. Right, so this is Old Head Wood. It's about 200 years old. It was enclosed. What happened was Lord Sligo, who's had a Westport house, wanted to build a hunting and fishing residence for his sort of weekend guests and things like this, and a customs house, and he built them here. So it's where the doctor's house is and where the hotel is. And what he did was he built the pier, which was about, I think it was about 1821, I think that was built. So this was probably built around about the same time. And what he did was he enclosed a piece of land. So there's a ditch and a bank up that end. There's another ditch and a bank up that end. It was probably open grassland with a few old oaks growing in it. And maybe a bit of scrub in terms of hazel and a bit of holly and things like this. Once he enclosed it, he planted other trees. But if you look this way, this is predominantly what an oak, Irish oak woodland would look like. There's a lot of Irish oaks in there. But he planted lime, he planted beech, he planted a bit of horse chestnut in here. But nearly everything else that you can see in the understory is hazel, holly. There's some blackthorn there as well. But this is traditionally would have been what an old oak woodland would look like. If you go further this way, there's preponderance of beech, and you get these very open understories. It's really here because it was enclosed and protected, so people weren't allowed to come in and chop down trees, and animals were stopped from grazing. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to go up this way. We're going to cross the boundary. We see the boundary on that side, and go into another bit of the woods, and hopefully we'll find a few mushrooms. Wood sorrel. It's oxalis. Good taste. Right, bite it, put it on the tip of your tongue. So what do you taste?
I know that taste.
If I say apple skin.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Apple
Tastes
skin.
like apple skin. It's a lemony sort of taste.
Lemon, yeah. I got the lemony, but I was thinking, what does it taste? It's the apple
The
skin.
apple skin, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great, it makes a really good sauce. You pick a little cup, about half a cup of that, wilt it like you would spinach, let it cool down, and then mix it in with a bit of cream and stick it on something like a mackerel. You've got the cap. I don't know if you can feel this, it's quite slimy, this cap, it's sticky. Then you've got the stem, or the stipe. Underneath, you've got these gills. They run from the stem to the outside edge of the cap. And these These finish in a sort of distinct line going round. All these things are sort of diagnostic of what it is. So we're not looking for gilled mushrooms because gilled mushrooms tend to make up the vast majority of the species. And for every gilled mushroom that's edible, there's a lookalike that is either deadly poisonous or will give you a stomachache. And because you've got so many to look through, when I'm teaching mushroom foraging to beginners, I try to steer them away from the gilled fungi onto the non-gilled fungi because there's just less of them and therefore you're less likely to make a mistake. What are we looking for in terms of an edible mushroom? Okay, ideally, something that someone's eaten before and hasn't died, yeah? So this is another Lactarius. As you see, feel that, see how sticky it is?
Yeah.
The cap. So this is a milk cap, so there you go.
So milk caps are poisonous, aren't they?
There's the milk. Well, the white ones are inedible. Some of them are poisonous, but most of them are just inedible. So this is a Russula. Very varied species. You get red ones, you get green ones, you get yellow ones, you get purple ones. Very varied in colour. The colour can actually wash out, so you have to be really, really careful. The red ones, these are beechwood sickeners, and they will actually give you a really bad stomachache. They've almost got a sort of a chalky sort of texture to them. And this one, you get a little gold star for this one. This is a chanterelle. Now,
I've heard of that.
Yes, they're really, really good. Now, can you see underneath, whereas the others have got gills, these have got gills, and do you see the way the ridges go down the stem? Yeah? You see that?
Yeah.
Now, can you see the way the ridges divide and divide and divide? A bit like a vein or a delta of a river.
Yeah, yeah.
And as these get older and older, it gets more and more convoluted. Can you smell them? Can you smell? You get a smell of it?
I can get a sort of smell off it, but not very distinct.
Apricots is what you're supposed to get.
Oh, right, okay.
25 to 30 euros a kilo on the market for these. And in Ireland, they start coming out around about end of June, beginning of July, and they'll continue all the way through till November.
Okay.
And they tend to come up in the same place within a few metres year after year after year. Sure, hedgehog. Can you see the spines underneath? If I just break them off, you see they just break off. So that's the young one, and that's the older one. But we found enough to identify. We found a few chanterelles, we found a few hedgehogs, the mouton. Best bit of any mushroom hunt is the cooking up. So I'm just taking most of the prickles off. Partly because some people find them a little bit bitter to taste, but the other thing is you see how they actually look a little bit like maggots. So it makes the dish unappetizing. So. So, as you saw, the woods are still a bit dry at the moment in Old Head. Still, we found 2 mushrooms that I was hoping to find: the mouton, the hedgehog, and the chanterelle. You had a chance to sort of see the distinctive qualities of those 2 mushrooms, so you should be able to identify them for yourself. If you've got any queries about mushrooms, you can always get in contact with me through my Facebook page, Walk on the Wild Side Louisburgh. Now, I can't always positively identify a mushroom from a photograph, but I can probably give you a rough idea. And also look on that page to see when I'm having walks. This year, it doesn't seem to be that great a year, so I probably won't do that many paid walks in the next few weeks. But I probably will do a picnic towards the end of October, weather permitting and COVID restrictions permitting. So yeah, look out for that, because that will be a free one. That will be just into the woods, taking photographs and bring your own picnic. So hopefully see you then. Bye.
Okay, so we've got these lovely mushrooms that we picked today. So I'm just going to make a quick risotto. I've got some olive oil. I've got a chopped onion, so I'm going to add that. And I've got a clove of garlic, so I'll pop that in. Just slightly soften, all I do is soften the onions. And at the same time, we've got these 2 different mushrooms. We've got the chanterelles and the hedgehog mushrooms. So we're going to just pop these in. They're lovely. Cover them in the oil really. I wouldn't do them for very long. I would now get some risotto rice. And just sprinkle it over. As you can see, I don't measure stuff. And I just stir it round so that all the rice is covered in the nice juices of the onions and the mushrooms and a bit of oil. And then I've got some chicken stock here, so I'll just add that. Most important ingredient, a little bit of white wine. There might be a bit more going later. And then this is, rather than standing over a hob and just stirring it, I've got a little dish, like a stone dish that I use a lot. And I will just tip it into there. And then this will go in the oven. So it's been in the oven just over 20 minutes. At about 10 minutes, I took it out and stirred it, and I added a little bit more white wine. So it's just had about another 10-12 minutes now, so that's looking nice. Really nice and creamy now. So the last thing that I would do, a bit of parmesan. Not too much, because again, I don't want to over all the mushrooms. Just stir it in. There we go. And then that's ready for serving. Bon appetit.